In a world of dungeons, dragons, and devious DMs, 4 adventurers set out to save the mysterious land of Blaelflow.
I'm Frank Bunty, Dwarven Paladin and all-round badass. I like nothing more than righting wrongs and smiting evil.
I'm Bonarail, a half-elf rogue that'll rob you blind and mess you up.
I'm Lord Sugar, a human wizard noble. I'm rich, I'm better than everyone, and I set fire to everything.
I'm Draco Justice, Dragonborn Monk. For when justice calls, who will answer? I will. I'm Draco Justice.
And I'm Doddy, the resident DM. I'll be throwing everything at these guys, including the kitchen sink. Ooh, a mimic kitchen sink.
Nerd OD&D from the Nod Network. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else you get podcasts.
My signed copy of Making Waves by David Hasselhoff, gotta give us this full title, got eaten by our hamster.
Interesting. Like a really hungry hamster, because it's a big book.
Well, not the entire thing. Hit. Enough to annoy me that now my beautiful, pristine, signed copy of Making Waves by David Hasselhoff is no longer pristine.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast, and it is I, Reginald.
I was not expecting that. I was not ready for you to intro then. Doesn't mean that wasn't okay. I just was not prepared. Hi.
You should always be prepared. I thought you were born ready, Paladin.
That's true. I was born with a microphone in my hand. I came out going, "Wow, welcome to the I've Just Been Born podcast," and I could talk.
I was dicking about on Sky the other day.
Okay.
This is just seemingly going into your because it just made me go, oh yeah, that reminded me. And Whose Line Is It Anyway is being shown on Dave, like the US one.
Sorry.
Like, Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh right, yes, yeah.
Which I used to fucking love. Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
It was great. And to be fair, Ryan Stiles and Colin Rockery have not aged at all.
No.
Like, they really haven't. But surprisingly, it crossed my eye line because the Bella twins were on it.
What?
So yeah,
so the Bella twins from WWE.
Yes.
Were they contestants or were they just like guests?
There were special guests that come on. Right. So and they were really funny in it. To be fair, so one of the games they had to be where they do the sound effects. You know, where Colin and Ryan will do a story.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the other people do the sound effects. So they had the Bella twins do the sound effects, and then the other one was like living props.
Okay.
Where they went skiing. And it was so funny, but they were doing that. But one of the things they had to do was they had to rap about Brie and Nikki in the style of the Beastie Boys.
Okay.
And it was just funny hearing like where you go, what? And then literally crack on doing it. And it was just like, you know what? It's just dead nice to have like unadulterated comedy again. Because usually whenever I watch stuff, it's always, there's swearing in it and it's all like adult themes and stuff like that. And it's just great. But it's just nice to have just stupid slapstick funny. Okay,
fair enough.
Comedy.
And I can imagine because it's just straight off the top of their head, it's a bit more unfiltered in that, they're not thinking too hard about saying stuff they shouldn't. Yeah. Comedy is just comedy. It's just like, look, everything we're saying here is funny.
Yeah, but it's just funny because they've not changed anything about that show because they even ended with the hoedown. And I was like, before it even started, I was like, dun 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 dun. I remember
90s,
the tune,
wasn't it? Early 90s.
Yeah, it must be late 80s, early 90s because I remember only being a little whippersnapper, but I can always remember the.
It's very odd how it started in the UK, didn't it? But then the fact that they had two, Americans / Canadians on it. I can't remember what they are. I think one of them might be Canadian.
Yeah,
so I'll stick with / and then they added, over the years there was a good mix of people on it, but there was the sort of the 2 or 3 staples. And then eventually it went over to the States on Comedy Central, and Drew Carey hosted it, didn't he?
He did.
And they just went, well, great, let's just have our Americans back / Canadians. Let's have our North American. I'm going to go with North Americans.
Nice.
That makes more sense. So, yeah, it's just weird how it went that way. But, I don't know.
Yeah, it's still so nice to have it back, though. So like it's an old series from the look of it because obviously now they're both mothers and stuff. And I was looking, I was like, that's pre-pregnancy, obviously, following Total Bellas, and it was before Total Bellas and Total Divas came out.
Okay.
Because they would have talked about it on that because they loved the media.
Here's Reg, our WWE Divas expert.
I was chatting to one of our friends of the pod, but also one of my mates, about bringing him into this quiz that we started last week, which we're doing next week.
Yes.
I don't know how this is going.
Yes.
So we haven't recorded this yet, right? So so about this quiz that we're going to record that sounds really entertaining.
It's fine. We've recorded it. We recorded our 50th episode the other day because we could get everyone together. Because as you're all well aware, when we record on Mondays, and it's always just me and Reg now. It's the other two just have lives, I guess. So it's difficult to get everyone together. So considering we managed to do it most weeks for D&D, I was like, right, we're not doing D&D today. We're doing our 50th pod, our 50th episode. So yeah, we recorded it and we did the first episode of Nerd IQ, which will be going. Yeah, so that'll come out next Wednesday. Can't decide whether Nerd IQ is going to go up earlier or not, but we'll see. We'll see if I can edit it in time.
Nice. So I was chatting to him about it. Because he does a wrestling, he's all about the wrestling, like the podcasts, and he does like the shows and writes articles about it for various media and whatnot. And he was like, "Are you still following Divas?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You still disappoint me then, because my only wrestling knowledge is literally just the Divas." And he was very upset when he found out that I was watching wrestling. He's like, "Oh my God, you watch wrestling? Amazing! We can finally catch up about this." And I was like, "Well, I watched Total Divas and Total Bellas," and then he just sent me like a 6-message just of abuse. And I was like, "Okay, but it's still all right for me to watch, yeah."
I mean, it's better than nothing, surely.
And then I fell into a rabbit hole as well. Speaking of wrestling, did you? I know it's been out for a few years now, but I never watched the video for it. But Frank Turner had a song called "The New Storm," and CM Punk.
That's the one.
He was wrestling CM Punk in it, like fighting it, and he's only just released like another interview where he actually described it in greater detail with some dude who's really interested in it all. But that was quite an entertaining interview to listen to. Okay.
Are you done with wrestling segues now?
Yes, I am done with wrestling segues. But he is up for doing the quiz because the quiz sounds entertaining.
Excellent.
I was also speaking to another one of my mates to be like, right, okay, we're doing this. You've appeared on one of our podcasts before, so I'm wondering if you'd be interested in participating. And he's like, nope, do not want to pay a quiz against you. I was like, why not? He went, because I do one quite frequently with you, and yeah, you always win, so there's no point.
Okay.
Like, yeah,
at what point are you going to reveal to him that you cheat?
Well, I wasn't planning on it.
Do you want me to cut that out?
No, it's fine. But I didn't cheat on our quiz.
No, but that's my point. That's what I mean.
I still won.
So, yeah, well, true. However, one thing I haven't told you guys is that probably the first round of this game show is going to be like the specialist subject. So you have to pick something you think you know a lot of, i.e. Total Divas, or, you know, the music of Prince, or wrestling that's not Divas. I don't know, just things like that. It's whatever whatever you're into. If you think you know a lot about something, that would be the first round. So you've got loads of chance to get lots and lots and lots of points. And plus, who cares if you lose?
I know, right?
Like, it's a bit of fun. Come on. But yeah, there's prizes. I mean, there are going to be prizes, so maybe you do care if you lose, but they're not that exciting prizes. They're really, really not. But it's fun. But yeah, anyway, this is at the moment. So to launch this podcast, we've asked a few people that we know. You know, some cosplayers, some people who also do podcasts and things like that, to see if they want to join in. But we will have a place for anyone. So if you're listening to this and you want to get involved, just email us. Email me at dan@nerdod.com, and say, hey, I would like to be on your quizzy podcast thing, and we will hook you up, as they say. And you can go up against Reg, where he has to answer questions about the Bella twins.
I don't think I'd be good at that.
Well,
but I will give it my damnedest.
Made the claims now.
I was tempted to get Ash. They've released a book, and I was going to get it for Christmas, but she was like, "No, don't do that." Like they did like an episode where they dedicated like chatting about the book and whatnot. And I just looked at her. I didn't even have to like do it. As soon as they started like talking about it, she must have been able to see the cogs in my head turn because they're doing like, "Oh yeah, we can do signed copies of our book," and I was like, And she's like, "Don't bother. I won't read it. I'll wait for the audiobook." And I was like, "Right, okay."
Yeah, but a signed copy, absolutely. You can go pride of place next to your copy of Making Waves by David Hasselhoff, signed by the author himself, and your Simon Pegg book that I got you.
My Simon Pegg book, 100%. The half book will have to come out of the shredder tip. Or
no way.
It went into.
My signed copy of Making Waves by David Hasselhoff, got to give it this full title, got eaten by our hamster.
Interesting.
We have one of those like IKEA cube units.
Like a really, really hungry hamster because it's a big book.
Well, not the entire thing. Enough to annoy me that now my beautiful, pristine, signed copy of Making Waves by David Hasselhoff is no longer pristine. So, yeah, we've got one of those IKEA cube units that you put the little sort of the cube drawers in and whatnot. And some of those cubes we don't have drawers in. I just have loads of my books. But they don't have a back, so the cubes, the holes go right the way through. And we have one up against the back of the couch. And there's probably an inch between the bottom of the couch and then the bottom shelf of the unit, if that makes sense. So our old hamster that we used to just let out and he'd just crawl around everywhere, used to love going underneath the couch. And one day we were struggling to find him. And we could hear noises, so I started pulling all the books and stuff out on the cubes, and we found that he'd literally, behind a bunch of the books, he'd made a little nest. There was just loads of hamster poop, bits of the rug, just food, everything, just whatever he'd found, he'd just built up this little nest there. But also bits of 2 or 3 of my book sleeves, he just sort of nibbled on the edges of them. And yeah, any other book I'd kind of been okay with, but my signed copy of Making Waves by David Hasselhoff.
Have you read Making Waves by David Hasselhoff?
No, I've heard enough from you. It's one of the things. That's why if I like the Bella twins, I would be quite happy with a signed copy of Total Divas, Bella's, whatever the book's called. I'd have been quite happy with that just because it's signed. I just like my things that are signed, even if I'll never read / listen to them.
Yeah, but he's just a massive cock.
Oh, 100%. I have no doubt.
I can't bring myself to be like...
Everyone knows
yeah, that was good. Hence why mine got binned. The minute he was like, yeah, basically, I am God, I was like, right, you're gone.
Fair enough.
Just gone.
You'll always have the memories of meeting the guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sitting in kit, which was probably the highlight.
What's that? Sitting in kit.
Sitting in kit.
True. To be fair, just to explain what happened when we met him, there was a bookstore in the UK and in the States called Borders. It's closed down now, but there was one close to us. And he was doing a tour for his book. So they got kit out, which was great. That was out the front of the shop, but also then had a signing. And the queue was out the door and then right the way through the car park, up this little ramp that connects the car park up to the main road, and then halfway down the road down to the next shopping centre. It was huge, absolutely massive. And you think, we're going to stand here for hours and hours and hours. He drove, his driver drove him up to the end of the queue, and when he arrived and he got out of the car and he went right the way down that queue, high-fiving everyone, saying hello to everyone, till he got to the bookshop and then sat down and signed everything, which was probably that was honestly one of the best, I don't want to say best signing experiences, because I've met some pretty cool people through signings, but I've not had anyone do something like that before. Most people, you just like, your first glimpse of them is when you're about sort of 20 to 30 people away from the front, where you can just see them sitting at a table signing stuff, and you're just like, oh yeah, there they are. Whereas this was like, he just appeared and was just like, hey everyone, and introduced himself. It was great.
Well, yeah, you say that, but then we also, performed a gig with Ed from the Bare Naked Ladies prior to going into a gig, just because he was walking down the line saying hello to people. So that was probably the best ever.
Maybe. Fair enough.
Like, surely having Ed teach you the secret chord while we're playing songs and nearly learning center instruments.
That was afterwards. That was after the gig. It wasn't. The secret chord was after the gig.
He played with us before the gig. Well, we stood in line, didn't he? So
I just remember afterwards we were queuing up, and then I got them all to sign my guitar, and he was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, let me teach you the secret chord." And then he taught me the secret chord, which apparently about 40% of their songs start with. So it's not really that secret. I just need to look up the tab.
But he taught it you, Dan.
He taught it me, and that's the important thing. I've forgotten it, but I just need to have a look what the opening chord to aluminum. I hate saying aluminum, but the song's called Aluminum. It's not called aluminium, it's called Aluminum. But yeah, that's that was the song. He said it's the opening chord to that song and lots of others. Right, all right.
I've just spoiled it for everyone now.
Yeah, no, it's not secret. Sorry, Ed.
But anyway, how are you, sir?
I'm all right.
20 minutes before I actually spoke to you. I got excited because your little what made me think of Beastie Boys, which then went on that massive sidetracking thing of
My impression of me as a baby made you think of the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Interesting. If I was a Beastie Boy, I would be very offended.
It was just
love me some Beastie Boys.
Just made me think about it.
Mm. I keep meaning to watch there's a Beastie Boys documentary that went on to Apple TV Plus. It's supposed to be really good.
All right.
Yeah. I even knew someone. I won't say know someone because they were my friend's brother-in-law. So probably never meet him again. But they were at the infamous, if you know of it, I guess, Beastie Boys gig that was in Liverpool, where there was fights and riots and all sorts of stuff. They toured the UK, and there was this was back in the 80s, and there was a huge outcry that don't let them in the country, these are gonna just destroy the minds of our youth, like Mary Whitehouse saying it was that whole movement. And they played in Liverpool, and there was protests and small riots, let's say. But yeah, he was there. It's like, that would have been amazing. I would have loved to see the Beastie Boys. Never got to, but never mind. I think the last time they toured over here was around Hello Nasty, and that was just as I was getting into them. But yeah, that would have been great. Mm-hmm. Now it will never happen.
I'm pretty sure you're the one that got me into them as well, to be fair.
Fair enough. Me and I can't remember the guy's name. Paddy, that's it. Yeah. But I got you into a lot of hippity hoppity, didn't I, Reg? Bit of DJ format, bit of J5.
I wouldn't be into the hoppiest of the hippest.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for you, Squire.
No.
It was just a bit much for me. No, it just I don't know. My music taste was very. I think our Chris said it best, was very depressive.
Fair enough.
So anything that was had a decent beat to it, or proper fast lyrics and stuff, that wasn't on my radar at all, unless it was someone who's been in a really horrendous relationship and just broke it off and then done a new album to talk about it. I'm like, ooh, I like this. So when you come along and you're like, have you listened to these? I'm like, who's DJ Format? I was like, well, it looks like we're going to Manchester Airport for no reason to listen to DJ Format.
It wasn't specifically to go. We just went on a road trip to the airport because we had nothing else to do. and we happened to listen to DJ format. Just
so
I miss the day. I mean, I love having most of my music just sat in, like a little sort of 3-inch rectangle that I can just plug into my car and it just plays. But I do miss having my massive folder full of CDs, full of like 96 CDs that you get in the car and you would spend about 10 minutes just flicking through going, yeah, no, not today. Yeah. Oh, that might be good. I'll come back. Let me keep going. Let me get to the end.
Before I had this new stereo that I put in the car, like, last year or tail end the year before, I literally had the CD player.
Of course, yeah, that was like, fairly recent for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, amazing, I get to listen to like all the old albums again. And then you forget that you can only put on like a maximum of usually about 20 songs on an album. And it's the same 20 songs you'll have forever on that album until you swap the next album over. And I'm just like, I miss the ability to actually be able to have like an MP3 player hooked up to the car.
But that's why I got an FM transmitter back in the day, and I got one before they were even legal in the UK. It was illegal, no matter how weak the signal, to broadcast your own radio without a license. And then we were in the States, and I bought one for like $20, next to nothing, and that was what I used to get any of my music through my car stereo. And it was a good couple of years until the sort of the government went, okay, let's allow this, and they let it slide. But yeah, I was like driving around being illegal. Although I remember driving to a gig once, and there was loads of us, so we were over 2 cars, and I had music playing in my car using the FM transmitter, and one of the guys in my car must have texted the people in the car behind and given them the frequency that we were on, so they would driving along also tuned into the same frequency, but it meant they had to drive really close to my car, and it was freaking me out because I was like, what are they doing? Why are they driving so close to my bumper? Back up. And someone texted them and tell them to stop driving, and apparently it was because they were trying to listen to the music. Just keep coming in like, yeah, we got it, and then I pull away and go to static.
That's hilarious.
Also, me and you were we were adopters of one of the greatest formats of all time, the mini disc.
The mini disc.
Yeah. Like, I remember I used to use, I think it was Napster. Yeah, it must have been Napster. Quite a lot back, like right sort of towards the beginning of it, and downloaded the odd song here and there. But to the point, now you just download an album and you've got it within about 12 seconds, whereas back then it was like, oh yeah, I have that song, and 40 minutes later, right, I've got that song now. So I started to gather like a MP3 collection for a while, and I started looking for MP3 players. And again, this was before MP3 players were a big thing, so iPods didn't exist at this point. And do you remember Creative Labs, who used to do like sound cards and speakers and stuff for your computer?
Yeah, they Sound Blaster, didn't they?
Yep, that's it. They made this MP3 player that I don't even want to guess what the capacity was, but it looked like a CD player, like a portable CD player. It was sort of this round machine and had a little screen on a couple of buttons. And I remember thinking, that's what I want. I want to be able to put all my music on there and just not have to sit flicking through CDs. See, now I've got the nostalgia of I want that CD thing back, that feeling of CDs. Back then I was like, I'm sick of this. I just want all my music in one. And I went into Dixon's. So that's how long ago it was. Curry's wasn't the thing yet. It was Dixon's. And I remember looking at one and talking to a guy there, and he gave me the best advice anyone in a shop like that has ever given me, because, as you know, they give terrible advice.
Excuse me.
Well, I technically worked for that company as well, Reg, so. But anyway, he was like, have you thought about mini discs? And I was like, yeah, but you can only fit like, one album on. It's the same sort of thing. And I don't want to have to go out and buy albums again. No. You can record your own. And they do these extra long play ones now where it records 4 times the capacity. So you can get like about, 5 hours of music onto one little disc. I was like, really? Okay. And after looking into it, that was what I bought. I remember getting my Xbox. I remember this was an America purchase. They didn't sell over here for the Xbox. I can't remember what they called it, but it was one of the connection kits that you know, to plug your Xbox into your TV, but it had an extra little box in it that then had an optical out on it.
Yes.
And it wasn't, at least for the beginning, it wasn't for sale over in the UK, and I got that in the States. So I could plug the optical cable in, plug it into my mini disc player, and there you go, I could record away. And I still love making little disc compilations of, like, you know, a good 60 songs or something like that, and then like all my favorite artists, and making little stickers as well. I print out little stickers and they look proper professional with the artwork on. That was great. Those were the days.
That was awesome, that, because and you used to come up with like amazing titles for the like the best ofs and stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. You've got it. He couldn't just, wasn't just like, here's the best of Dashboard Confessional. You have to have something. You have to have some kind of title, you know, one of the lyrics or something like that to make it relevant. But the I do bring up mini disc for a reason, and you know how cassettes are sort of making a comeback, aren't they? In a way, you know, people want to own physical music now, physical media.
Yeah.
But for some reason, people don't want to buy CDs over here, but they want to buy vinyl. Even though I'd probably say at least 50% of people who buy vinyl can't play it. You know, they haven't got anything to play. I'm included within that. I own several vinyls. I've bought vinyl in the last 12 months, but it's just for having it. And at least I feel like, you know, look, I'm buying, so I've got a physical media, and it's a really cool physical media. And cassettes are starting to become that sort of thing now. A lot of artists are releasing their albums, and are like, okay, here's the CD version or whatever. Here's, you know, a merch bundle, but here's a cassette tape version. And also you get a little card in there with a download code, so you can actually own the album that way. And that's quite cool. So, you know, I get that. It's not quite as nice a thing to have displayed, I guess, as a vinyl, as a nice 12-inch record, but it's still a cool thing to have. There's a group that are signed to JPU Records, who release a lot of Japanese acts over in the UK and in Europe and whatnot. They have an act that they've signed called FEMM. It stands for Far East Mention Mannequins, and they're basically, their whole shtick is they are mannequins, to the point when they appear on stage, whoever are touring, whoever's they're sort of the, you know, their roadies or whatever, have to carry them out and stand them up on stage. So I went to see them in London.
An enthralling live show.
Well, it's only the beginning. No, they move once the music starts. They move and dance, but it's, you know, like we're robot type things. But it's just really funny seeing them literally get carried out like on an angle, like, you know, just carrying this woman out diagonally and then just setting her up and then putting her arms in place and whatever, handing the mic, and then the music starts and they start moving. It's just it's entertaining. Really good that they actually sing in English, so it's quite accessible. They're well worth having a listen to, actually. They've got some really good, proper, like, electronic, you know, really good stuff. Anyway, point is, I was at one of their gigs, and they were doing signing and whatnot, and I was looking at the merch, and I was like, oh, great, I'll buy the cassette. So I own one of their cassettes of one of their albums, which is quite cool. But their new album's coming out, and JPU announced that they're doing another sort of retro limited edition, and they're releasing it on mini disc, and I've not seen that at all yet. I can't think of any other artist that has gone, yeah, what are we going to do it on? Vinyl, cassette? No, let's do mini disc.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's really
bizarre. And it looks awesome as well. It's like the artwork and everything printed on it. It looks great. I'm curious where they got it done. Like, I don't know who can do that nowadays. There's loads of companies absolutely that will do proper, you know, vinyl, and I'm sure they can print cassettes. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird, unless it's just what I used to do and they've just printed some stickers.
It might be, you know.
Could be.
I wouldn't put it past it.
Maybe. It looks better. The pictures I've seen look like it's more than that. But anyway, that was a bit of an aside. But I like the idea of that. Like, see, this is the thing. Over in Korea and Japan, where physical media, like CDs especially, is still big. Japan especially is huge. Like Spotify and the likes just haven't quite taken off. People don't people want to own the albums, and part of it is because of the perks and things that you get with it. But
their CD singles and stuff are always fucking amazing.
Yeah. So Korean stuff, you don't just get a jewel case with a CD and a little 4-page booklet or whatever. You will get this beautiful, 100-page photo book of the members of the group or whatever, or you'll get all these collectible cards and stickers and things you can make and all sorts of things. They are really nice stuff. You might buy something that's only got 2 songs on, but it'll cost you about 15 quid because it's this whole photo book and collector's thing, and it look amazing. And I would absolutely buy more CDs and things if they were like that everywhere else. And now in Japan it's even worse because they still will generally come as CDs, like in jewel cases, but they seem to have settled on the fact that they can charge so much more. It's usually about 3,000 yen, which is about 20 to 25 quid to buy an album. And then they'll do about 4 versions of it. So you've got like the Type A with one cover on, you've got Type B with another cover, and then you've got the limited edition, which will have a DVD on it, and then you'll have the super limited edition that'll have a Blu-ray with it. And each one's got a different cover. And if you buy certain ones, you might get this perk. You might get a set of postcards or a set of stickers or something like that, or a keyring. Or you might get a little voting slip that will let you vote for your favorite member of your group, or a ticket to go into a lottery to be able to buy tickets to one of their concerts. All sorts of things like that. But they sell so much more. It is the biggest market outside of the USA for physical media, and the only reason USA is bigger is because there's so many more people who live there. But when you go per capita or whatnot, it's insanely more than any other country in the world. And it is all because of just, I don't know, they've almost, the weird thing to me is how much they charge for the CDs. People seem to be quite happy and settled on the fact that, an album, all that effort and whatever, it's going to cost me 25 quid. Whereas over here, if anyone charges something like that, you better hope that you get, better get something with it. £10 is about the max anyone's going to pay for an album.
Yeah, definitely these days.
Even then, you're just going to go Spotify for £10. I'm curious how much. I've never looked, but I'm curious how much something like Spotify is in these countries. Whether it's relative to the cost of CDs. Don't know. Strange, but anywho, sorry, sidetrack. But
you're all right. I don't even know what we were being sidetracked from.
I don't know. I don't know whether you've got anything you want to talk about, but so our last episode we talked in depth about Justice League, obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I managed to watch that by getting a month of Now TV, which is basically Sky Movies essentially, and I was like, well, I've got this month. I've watched Justice League now. That's really all I wanted to watch. But let's see what else they've got. And, some good stuff on there. Lots of stuff that I've kind of missed out because we haven't been able to go to the cinema quite as much as we wanted to. So I've spent the last sort of week, any of my free time, just blitzing a bunch of films, which was good. And I watched one. I don't know whether you've got Sky Movies, right?
I do.
So apologies. This is kind of talking about kind of out of date movies, but we do this anyway. We talk about stuff that came out 2 years ago. I'm like, hey, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake now, things like that. Or Control, I've just finished that. Yeah, that was out 18 months ago. Now we're going to do it with movies. Have you seen Bloodshot?
I can't bring myself to watch it.
Watch it.
Really?
Right. It's actually pretty good. So Bloodshot, first of all, it's a Vin Diesel movie, so I understand your trepidation because that was mine as well. And when Vin Diesel really sort of loves something and he gets really involved in something, I don't feel like it turns out particularly well. I'm looking at Chronicles of Riddick and all those films because he is the driving force behind those. The only thing he's good at is getting his video game company to make good stuff.
I was about to say the Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay.
Oh, it's great. So good.
Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, one of my favorite first person shooters. Right. Anywho, so Bloodshot is based on a Valiant Comics comic series. Basically, apparently there's a whole sort of Valiant universe of their comics that cross over, and Bloodshot's one of them. And Valiant Comics, like I remember back years ago, they were sort of a bit of an up and coming indie comics company. And there was one also started around at the same time called Boom, who just used to do licensed stuff, and they were pretty bad. They had the Disney license, and I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of their sort of stuff. It's almost flipped now. Boom makes some amazing stuff. They're like the new Image. But Valiant, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of a lot of their stuff. It's just, it all seems a bit formulaic and samey, and I don't know, and cheap, to be honest. But Bloodshot was at first going to be. They were looking at that being the launch of the Valiant cinematic universe, obviously. But that never got out. Apparently, they were trying to keep that quiet, and then it got to the point where they said, right, no, we don't want any referencing in this film to any future movies. Let's just have this as if it's a standalone movie, because we don't want that backlash. We don't want the pressure of like, this didn't do well, so everything else off the table, like happened with like the Monsters, the Universal Monsters universe after The Mummy or whatnot.
Because The Mummy was a good film.
It was great. Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, it's nothing like the original Mummy, but I didn't care. It was a good Tom Cruise movie, if you ask me. But I don't know. But yeah, that set up so many future movies that then could never happen, because and I'm sure part of that was the backlash against it. Everyone just being like, oh, they're just trying to do another universe, they're trying to do a Marvel, let's just stop trying to make it happen. But yeah, Bloodshot, from what I've heard, it's another one of these passion projects from Vin Diesel, and he's really, really into it. And it starts off, it's really formulaic action movie. It's just to the point where it's like, I don't even know whether I'm going to watch this. And then it gets to a point where, without giving it away, something happens, and suddenly everything makes sense. And it's actually a fairly decent movie. From then, I was really surprised. I'd heard good reviews, to be fair. It didn't get a fair shot because of COVID, because cinemas shut as soon as it came out. So I think it was in cinemas for about 2 days in the States, and then that was it. So it came out, streaming a month later or whatnot. But yeah, it was actually quite clever what they did with it. I don't want to give anything of it away, but I would definitely recommend watching it. The only frustrating thing, the only annoying scene, there is a big action scene where when Vin Diesel's turned into Bloodshot, he this car that he's chasing goes into a tunnel, and he makes a truck crash, which blocks the tunnel, and it's pitch black, and these guys, all the sort of the Navy SEALs in the car, they're like, oh no, he's coming, and they let off all these flares, all these red flares. So you've got this pitch black tunnel with all these red flares lighting up everything. So it looks really arty, and you're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna have a slow motion Vin Diesel killing everyone scene here, aren't we? And then I noticed that the truck that crashed was carrying flour. It was a flour truck. Okay, and you know, in The Last Jedi, you've got that. No matter what people say about it, that final battle where they're all tearing across the plains, the salt flats.
Right, okay, yeah.
And you've got the red and and that I just love the look of it. It just the one amazing thing about that film is the visual aspect of it, and that especially is such a great look. I just love it. It almost turns into that, because all you've got is this red light, and then you've got this flower that's just covered everywhere. And as he's running through in slow motion, punching everyone, and they're all shooting him, and he's, breaking arms and legs and whatnot. It's all this flour flying everywhere. And it was just like, I just hate when action movies do that, when they're just like, right, we need something to make the scene look cool. okay, the truck's got flour in it, so we can have this powder going everywhere. It's just frustrated me, and it almost went back to the cheesy action movie bit because of that. But fortunately, it picks itself up again. And do you know what? It doesn't outstay its welcome. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. It flows along pretty well. It doesn't get boring. So I definitely give it a shot. But apparently, in terms of sequels as well, again, Vin Diesel really wants to do it. There is another character. I forget what it's called. Harbinger's the name of the comic. And there's a crossover in the comics world called Harbinger Wars, and that's what they were hoping to aim for. They even wrote an end credits scene where it would introduce one of the characters before Valiant went, no, forget it, we're not doing it. But apparently they're still going to do this Harbinger movie. That's still in the works. So whether that does well, and then they decide to bring Bloodshot back. But have you another one? Have you seen Brightburn, which is basically the horror Superman?
Yeah, I know of it, but I've not watched it.
I'm not into horror films, but I thought I'd give this a go because it's it's a good little twist on the Superman origin story, I guess. But also it's produced by James Gunn. So okay, this might be fairly decent. If I'm going to watch any horror movie, maybe this should be the one. And it's one of those films. I remember getting to the end of Jeepers Creepers. and being like, it ends on such an anti-climax, on such a downturn. Like these characters that you've been like rooting for all the way through to be like, come on, yeah, you could do it, you could beat that Jeepers Creepers. It's fine. And then spoilers, he kills them all. And then the end of it is just him just humming the Jeepers Creepers, the weird Jeepers Creepers creature, just humming the Jeepers Creepers song as he skins Justin Long alive. Yeah, exactly. And I just remember coming out of it being like, right, what was the point? What was the actual point in that? That's what I got from this. Right, and it sets up a sequel, but it's one of those where you're rooting for the parents and all the people who live in this town as the kid starts to work out, hang on, I'm like Superman. I can just do whatever I want. I can break this girl this is a 13-year-old kid, by the way. I can break this girl's hand who I think is really pretty, but she doesn't want to talk to me. I can then murder her mother. I can kill my uncle. I can shoot my dad in the eyes with my laser vision, all that sort of stuff. And then there's a big fight at the end with her mom, and you think, yeah, I can see exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be like a kryptonite version, and he's going to be able to kill him somehow. And I won't give away again the actual ending.
It's fine if you want to. Me and Ash were saying last night because we've gone through all our series and stuff we watch now. So we're like, what are we going to put on? I was like, well, we do have a backlog of 45 films that we've recorded off Sky Cinema. So
I'm the opposite. I've moved off. I'm just like, right, I've got this for a month. Let me just watch every movie that I can that I haven't seen and that I missed in the last year or whatnot. And I've got tons of series sat there that I need to get into. I will watch The Witcher eventually.
Have you still not watched The Witcher yet?
No, but it's there ready.
Have you watched the latest Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I have.
That was good.
It's just, again, another quality show. The only interesting thing, I was really keen every week to talk about WandaVision and talk about what it all meant and what was going to happen. With this, I'm just happy to go along with it. I feel like it doesn't need it. Doesn't have any big mysteries, really, does it? It's just good quality action.
I think it's just that there's a few things that stand out that you want to discuss with it. Like, I love that you would, like last week we were discussing how I hated the new Captain America's face.
Yes,
just like
and how that was supposed
and then,
to be that point.
Yeah, and then obviously this episode came on, and he's done so very, very well because you hate him. He's just a cocky, arrogant, stupid-faced gimp.
Yeah, and then he's also got his sidekick as well. and they're just both
Ash
really
said
up
he's a
themselves, aren't they? Huh?
Ash was like doing the wanking sign. He's like, he's a wanker. I was like, yeah, the wife said he's a wanker.
Yeah.
To put it nicely. Yeah, so like that whole thing is mad. But then when they go dig into the whole, like when he goes to the hood and they throw in like the race card and stuff that goes in there, and like they tackle so many different
the fact that the
issues
cops,
and
like treating
whatnot.
him until he realizes who he is, and then suddenly he's a sir.
Yeah, it's mad, but it's amazing the level of like the issues that they dig into and climb into, and not afraid to go with it. I thought like this week's one was really, really good, so I was impressed with that.
But also bring in spoilers if you haven't seen it, but Isaiah Bradley into it as another super soldier, which was interesting. I didn't realize that they were going to bring him in and reference him.
Yeah, I'd literally up until about 12 hours ago when I was sat at my desk and I was like, I'm having some toast, I'll read about this.
Yeah.
But like, this is
also, I find that any little questions or any little what might look like plot holes that come up over the years, they tend to do a really good job of eventually getting to them and going, oh yeah, here, and explaining them really nicely. Like you go from Captain America: The First Avenger, the film, and at the end of that, he ditches the plane in the Arctic or whatever, and then he's frozen there for however many years it was, 60 years or something like that. And you think, people are like, well, in that time, did they just go, that's the end of that, we're not doing the super soldier thing anymore? Why is not every soldier suddenly got this super soldier stuff? And they don't really reference it other than Bucky having it, but that was obviously Hydra. But no one else seems to have got it. But it was good that they actually then reference, during that time when Cap was out, there was another, not necessarily Captain America, but at least another super soldier. And that was the guy that they go to see in the second episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So, yeah, it was a nice touch. I didn't realise that. And obviously, I'd had one of the cameos spoiled. You said there's a second cameo on the way.
Yes.
Or no, and not necessarily a cameo. I think, to be fair, even this cameo, I think he's a major part of the series from what I'm hearing. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
Yes.
But on the other note, I don't know how I feel about the new Suicide Squad trailer.
Okay. After watching Harley Quinn, the Birds of Prey film, I think I am more on board with it. You've got the legacy of that movie, the original Suicide Squad movie, which is pretty terrible. Okay. And that would make you think, another Suicide Squad film, I'm just not interested. But then, especially like Harley Quinn was probably one of the best bits in that film, but I still wasn't particularly a big fan of no, I don't want to say her because she plays her well, but I definitely I didn't think I didn't rush out to watch Birds of Prey, and the trailer for Birds of Prey also was so terrible that I immediately wrote it off in my mind. I only watched it because suddenly I had a month of Now TV to watch a million films, but I really enjoyed that. It was a good, solid. Again, didn't have to say it's welcome. Nice, shortish film, really good action, done pretty well to the point where in this trailer, in the new Suicide Squad trailer, I'm more used to her now. I'm more on board with her in the way that she is. So she wasn't annoying or anything in the trailer. It was actually quite, she was quite charming in the trailer. She was quite funny, and it worked. And then some of the new characters as well that they started to introduce. Like I thought that Idris Elba was just playing Deadshot didn't realize that he was playing a different character. I thought they just recast that shot.
Right, fair enough.
But that's just what I'd heard, to be honest. It wasn't just like I'd assumed that. I'd heard that originally when he was mooted as being in it, that was what he was doing, because I'd heard Will Smith wasn't coming back for it. I don't know. I'd be impressed if they got Will Smith back and killed him off within like the first 30 seconds of the film.
Oh, how good
that would be worth it.
I can't believe it's Sylvester Stallone that's playing King Shark.
Yeah, I saw him in his name come up when it flashes up the 700 people who are in it. But that was what I assumed, because I thought I didn't see him, and he's one of those. It was like, when you heard Vin Diesel was going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then eventually you find out, oh wait, he's the voice of Groot. That I'm fine with.
Yeah.
And do you remember when he was cast in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when it was announced that Sylvester Stallone was going to be in that? And all the rumors were he was going to be Groot's dad. And then suddenly I was like, right, fine, I'm okay with that. That works. And fair enough, in the end, he wasn't. He was one of the Ravagers, wasn't he? But because he was only in it briefly, it's fine. Okay, I'll take him. But yeah, again, that makes sense. And him as a character, he's really, I can see him being the breakout of the film. He's done really well. Like the fact that it almost looks almost exactly the same as the version in the Flash TV show, but then he's just got this goofy way about him.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that I know a lot of people are kicking off about, because saying that's not my King Shark.
No, but that's what this film is. This film is a bit of a, sort of almost a spoof on standard superhero stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I like. I put up a post in our thing going like, I don't know how I feel about it, but at the same time, I think King Shark was my favourite, just because the bit was like nom nom nom, and just ripping tearing, and just really getting into it. And I was like, you know what? Actually, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Like everyone keeps on saying, it's a Earth version of Guardians, and I'm like, it's
the
really
trailer
not.
made it feel like that. I have no doubt that the movie's got its own, independent story that's not gonna, it's not gonna look like it's copying anything. But the trailer was clearly cut to make people feel that. James Gunn doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the trailer, and I give him a bit more credit that he wouldn't just go, oh, let's just pick another, 1960s rock song, and put it over the, because that is one of the defining things about the Guardians of the Galaxy series. It's the soundtracks, right? It's those songs, those sort of southern rock, it did feel like they were playing on that too much. I can't remember the song that they picked, but it just, as soon as it started playing, I was just like, it sounds like they're trying to make you go, hey, look, this is our Guardians of the Galaxy. So,
yeah.
Don't know.
I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans down, and like straight away, like the 1,001 different spin-offs that are coming from it.
Yeah, I wish they'd just keep them quiet. I wish they would just look. If you want to do them, just because this is it. This is again the people have them backlash against any of this just by the fact that they're banking on this being a hit, a big enough hit that each of these characters can then have their own spin-off film or a spin-off TV series or whatnot. It's almost like just. I don't know. They're really up themselves, and they're like, "Yeah, this is going to be big. We can do it." And people then immediately are just like, "Yeah, no." Let us be the judge of that.
Yeah.
Look at Iron Man. No one knew that Iron Man was the start of something until the very end, and Nick Fury appears and says, something called the Avengers Initiative, and people are like, holy cow, yes, this is something. I can see why have they not done this before. People weren't Like, it just wasn't announced. It wasn't out there. It wasn't a big deal that this was going to be the start of this entire franchise. But everything else now is trying to replicate it.
Yeah.
Like, do you even look at you mentioned before we started the pod? You said something about Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Do you even see that as like, it's part of the... I know obviously it's clearly part of this monsters world, but
the Keiju universe.
Yeah, I don't feel like, I'm following this universe now. I need to watch all the little spin-offs and whatnot. I just don't have any investment in it.
No.
Like I said to you, I enjoyed the Skull Island film, but the other two just were pretty forgettable. And again, I could quite easily miss, and I wouldn't be bothered. It almost, I don't feel like any of the movies have done well enough to warrant them continuing with this. But it's almost like they've gone, we've spent so much money on this, we need to get this to our, to the conclusion.
Yeah, it's irritating because now we've actually got like the tech to actually do amazing CGI, and King Kong and Godzilla both look phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they're like, right, okay, so we've called these films, like Godzilla, we've called this one King Kong. So you got to think automatically, this is the highlight of the film. This is the star of the film. This is what the film's all about. And they're in it for about 20% of each film. The rest of them are all dedicated to the fucking human side stories.
That's it.
And it's the same King of the Monsters. Like when Godzilla King of the Monsters was on, like I was really looking forward to watching it. And I only got about halfway through it to begin with because it was all just about the human side of it.
Them running around like trying to stop them coming out, and then they come out, and then okay. Well, move on to the next one. Let's see if we can stop this. Exactly. I mean, you need that story though, because otherwise you've got these sort of emotionless faces that can't convey any feeling to the audience. I mean, maybe King Kong can a little bit, but Godzilla, you're not going to look at him and go, oh yeah, I know exactly what he's thinking. So there's no way of following a story there.
All we need is literally what, like, this one's got the little girl, which it doesn't need that. What it actually needs is someone to be like, right, okay, so in the past, this is what fucking went down. It looks like it's about to go down now. We need to run and hide and let them get to it.
Yeah.
The film's like an hour. I would happily watch, an hour of just them two beat the living piss out of each other to see who comes out victorious.
Yeah, just have the humans just narrating what's happening. You don't need any of the story involving them. Just like, it looks like King Kong's run away because Godzilla is really, really, giving him a beating. Oh, but I think he'll be back. And then, 10 minutes later, like, oh, no, he's recovered. He's back again. Another fight. Yeah,
you could have the guy like from Come Dine With Me doing the voice, like literally just narrating it like on the side in a helicopter.
That's it. I like it.
Just be, if you do that, like that is Godzilla versus King Kong.
It is, but it also makes it then unbelievable because I don't understand how. Okay, I just mean, look, you're in this world where there's like this 200-foot lizard and a 200-foot gorilla fighting. Yeah, I understand that's unbelievable, but that is what the film is. That's the world you're ready for. That they exist. Okay, the unbelievable bit is that all these people survive. Like, I've watched the trailer, and there's a bit where they're fighting in the sea. First of all, I don't quite understand how King Kong can stand up in the sea. Godzilla, I think he's a bit taller. I don't know. Either way, either of them. And then the humans are all on these boats, and there's all this fighting going on, and I don't understand how the boats just aren't sinking immediately. Like, everyone should be just dying. At least the first film, which I thought was the worst one, but at least the premise of that was, it kind of made sense. It was following these characters as they were trying to, travel from A to B, getting away from Godzilla or whatever, trying to get to safety. And it just so happened that Godzilla was everywhere that they were. But, that at least there was a fairly human story there that made sense to follow. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Whereas
it's just
the other ones has been, I don't know, yeah, it's almost like the human story's just been tagged on far too much. Have you seen they're re-releasing them on like digital and streaming and whatnot. The original Godzilla, one of the big criticisms was how dark it was.
Yeah.
You could barely ever see Godzilla. To the new 4K version, someone on Twitter put screenshots up and showed one of the scenes, and it is, I mean, this isn't a pun, but it was like night and day. It just, the new version, it was so much clearer. It still looked like night, but you could easily see everything. You could see where Godzilla was, whereas the original one was just pitch black. It's terrible. And again, that was something that really bothered me, in the same way that Tenet bothered me that I couldn't hear what anyone was saying. That bothered me that I couldn't see anything.
But yeah, because those are your two things you like to enjoy using when you go see a film.
Well, when you go and see a film, you want to hear it and you want to see it. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Jeez.
But it's just, I don't know. It's one of them. I'm gutted it's not going to like the Sky Cinema.
No,
and it will be one over here that we're getting pictures to see. But
it's better for being on the big screen.
Yeah, no, because like you've just literally said, the first couple weren't great. Skull Island was great. The rest weren't. Do you really want to risk your time and your hard-earned money going to pictures to see it?
Again, I'm just no. If it was back in the day, maybe not. But I'm at this point, I just want to be able to go back to a cinema. And I used to go like every week, every couple of weeks. And when it's only like $3.99, $4.99 to go and watch a film, I'm more than happy to go and sit in the cinema for a couple of hours. Nice air conditioned cinema, with some popcorn that I brought in myself because I don't want to pay £7 for a tub of popcorn. Bottle of caffeine free Diet Coke next to me. I'm more than happy.
It's weird why all these cinemas shut down before COVID, because they can't afford to keep operating. It's bizarre, isn't it?
There's plenty of people out there who spend a fortune on going to watch the cinemas, on concessions. I don't know. It's just overpriced.
Fair enough.
Charge more to see a film. If you're going to charge $3.99, you're going to attract the people who just want to, get a bargain.
Yeah, it is weird, isn't it?
I'm going to go to Poundland before I'm coming to the cinema.
Because it's like the one by me is still like 18 quid to go see a film.
And I know. I get that you've got the 4DX and you've got the IMAX and you've got the Smell-O-Vision and whatever.
Oh yeah, but
all that sort of
that stuff it cost me to take my dad to go see the last Star Wars film. Yeah. I think it was just shy of 40 quid. Maybe just over 40 quid for me and him to go. I think it was 45 quid, something like that, to go see it in 4DX. And
but that's the thing. There's
then I was like,
the spectrum,
so I bought you this for Christmas, but I don't think you'd understand because the ticket didn't have the price on it. So I was like, bastard, he's not going to know that I just spent that on him, and he's still expecting an actual present. So, but they still charge like 17 quid for a Coke. And I'm like, if you're charging me 25 quid for a fucking ticket to go see a film with a moving chair, you can't charge me fucking 17 quid for a Coke. I understand the ones that charge $3.99 to go see a film because I'd be like, you know what, fuck it, I'll pay an extra quid and have the comfier seats, and that's how they get you.
Well, that's the thing. That's what cinemas seem to have done. They went through a phase where a lot of them just went very cheap, like a lot of the View cinemas and the Odeon cinemas, and then both those companies decided to strip out a bunch of their cinemas and put in the super mega comfy recliner seats so they could then charge twice as much. And I almost felt like it's worth it in some cases. I think one of the ones by me, it used to be £1 more to go and sit in the comfy seats back when you had the choice. So it was a £5 or £6 quid, and every time I would pay that extra £1. I didn't the first time. And when the credits were on for the film, everyone left, and I was sat there, and there was a bunch of empty seats, and I went over and sat in one of the recliners and put it up, and I was like, holy smoke, this is the comfiest I think I've ever felt in my entire life. And since then, I would pay the extra £1. And then it went to £2, and I was okay with it. And then it went to £3 and then £4. And by the end of it, genuinely, it was £6 more to sit in the comfy seats. It was £5 or it was £11. And I'm just like, no, there's nothing that would make that worth it suddenly.
At that, if the only way you could watch the Snyder Cut was in the pictures, you would need that reclining.
Well, yes, you say that because I can't remember whether I spoke to you about it, but I definitely at one point I was considering going to watch, I think it was the trilogy of Star Wars when the last one came out, or it might have been Endgame and Infinity War and whatnot. I forget. But anyway, something that I knew I was going to be in the cinema for 7 or 8 hours. So I absolutely was going to pay the extra for the comfy chairs. Didn't happen in the end, but that was definitely the plan. Mm-hmm. So I agree, absolutely. But a standard film, 2 to 3 hours, I probably wouldn't spend more than £1 or so extra, even though they are one of the greatest things ever. But now a lot of the cinemas have just gone, that's all you've got now. You have no other option. You have these types of seats.
Oh, right, okay.
So the Ojin have Ojin Lux and then View. They're still just standard views, but the one by us is all recliners now.
Oh, right, okay. So you can't have a $3.99 film anymore.
No, I think it's like $6.99 now. It's not like it's gone a lot more expensive, but thing is, they're not as good. The Ojin recliners are chef's kiss. The View ones are just
Right, okay.
They're like the McDonald's of recliners, Reg. Whereas the Ojin ones are the Almost Famous / Five Guys of recliners.
Oh.
They just have so much more recline. Anyway, I don't know, but if you want a segue, I can handle one before we wrap up.
I was going to say, we were having a conversation about a takeaway thing. I can't remember what the takeaway was, but it was coming out in the UK and I was getting really excited for it. I'll have to remember it for next week.
Okay, have a think. While we're talking about giant kaiju monster things attacking people, the last episode of the final season of Attack on Titan was out last night, Reg.
And then they announced that they're doing a load more episodes.
Actually, the final season, because they're just splitting it into 2 parts. What a technicality! I mean, okay, I remember watching the first season of Attack on Titan a bit after it came out, and just absolutely loving it. It was amazing, and it's one of those. I see so many people in the comments of some of these, like on Reddit posts and stuff like that, and on Facebook and whatnot, all that. There's plenty of people going, oh, this, it's one of the best anime series of all time. And then people, the complete opposite end of the spectrum, just being like, I don't know how you can say that. It's the worst thing. It's terrible writing. All these plot holes that never get resolved. Everything gets resolved. There is a plot point in series 1 where there's a town that is like 100 miles away. And they're all on horseback, by the way, so it's not like they can get there on a train or anything like that really quick. And there's a basement and that is locked, and one of the characters has a key to get into that basement. And in that basement is a secret to everything that they're fighting for. And you think by the end of the series, they're going to go there and they're going to get into that basement. That doesn't get resolved until about 3/4 of the way through season 3. And wow. I think that's really good. Like when I got through season 1 and loved it, and then season 2 took about 3 years to come, and I just never got around to watching it. So in the last sort of 6 months, I've then binged the entire series up to the final season 4, and it gets better and better as it goes. Season 2 and season 3 did not disappoint after season 1. But I remember watching it, and when it got to the point of that plot point eventually paying off, I was like, you would never get this in American TV series. Like you look at something like Flash and Arrow, how a story arc just gets wrapped up within about 3 episodes. You think something's going to drag, the first episode, the first couple of episodes of a series starts, and you see who the big bad guy is, and you think, all right, this is what we're aiming for here by the end of it. And all of the way through the season, that's all wrapped up, and they moved on to another bad guy, or that bad guy's been beaten, and then by the end of it, maybe he'll come back. They just want to get through stuff so quickly. Yet in stuff like this, in Attack on Titan and other anime, they'll take 2.5, 3 episodes just to do one fight. And you might think that sounds boring, but it's just so intense and gripping. It's amazing. But anyway, I digress. Season 4, they announced, would be the final season. It went to a new animation studio as well, and it's a bit weird because the characters look slightly different, but it's explained away in that it's like 3 or 4 years like time skip between season 3 and season 4, so everyone's a bit older. You know, Mikasa's a bit more it just looks a bit more mature, and she's a lot more sort of bulky now. She's way more like muscly and stuff, so she looks a bit odd, and Aaron's grown his hair and stuff like that. So anyway, what was my point? Oh yeah, so anyway, final season, 16 episodes it got announced it was going to be, and as it started going along, people started to realize that they were never going to wrap up where the manga is, and the manga has got 1 issue left. It finishes I think mid-April or beginning of May, and then that is it. That is the absolute finale of the story, and everyone was like, look, we're miles away from this. And then they also announced what the episode titles were going to be, and the last episode of the series was called Above and Below, which is similar to one of the chapters of the manga, which was sort of about 90% the way through. So people were like, it can't finish, it just cannot finish. And as it was getting closer to it and closer to it, it became very, very, very apparent, yeah, it's definitely not going to finish. But why will they not announce that it's going to have a part 2? Just say it's the final season, part 1, and we're going to have a part 2. Because if they just hold it till the end, people are just going to be furious, because like, oh, it's not really the final season, was it? Because here's another 16 episodes. Or the worry was that they were going to do a movie, because movies of animes are really big now. Like the My Hero Academia movies over in Japan make big money, and Demon Slayer as well is the movie of that, which was basically just covering a sort of a 4-issue arc of the manga. Made it basically it's the biggest grossing Japanese movie of all time. Like overtook Studio Ghibli films and everything. It's just insane. Mm-hmm. So everyone was pretty sure they were going to go down that route, because why wouldn't they? Because this is arguably bigger than something like Demon Slayer. And it's a big deal that they're ending it. It's going to make a lot of money. And the only annoying thing about that is that international fans wouldn't get to watch it for like 6 to 12 months after it came out, which would have been frustrating. But fortunately, they're not doing that. They are releasing it in December. But I don't know. It almost feels like fraudulent advertising, even though everyone knew. It's just so frustrating. Like, yeah, okay, that was only half the series.
Yeah, it is a mad one. Like, I wasn't aware, obviously, that. I got up to season 2. I think I watched the first half of season 2, and then for no reason, just literally no reason, just stopped.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say I'll pick it back up again, but I know it'll get added to the list of I'll watch this.
I know. And then I would put it higher than 99% of other stuff that's on your list, because it's so good.
Yeah, I think the only anime I'm genuinely going to watch is the Shenmue one, to be honest with you. I was so excited about the Castlevania one coming back, because I love season 1. Mm-hmm. And then I watched like 2 episodes of season 2, and I think they're just announced season 4 now or something, because I'm just like, yeah, I need to at some point. And like Full Metal Panic came back and had like another one, and I fucking loved Full Metal Panic. That's like my favorite anime that's been done. And I know I can watch it at any point. And I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know what it is, but I just can't bring myself to watch animes, and I don't know why, because I love them.
My problem is just wanting to multitask when I watch something, and then I can't have something that I need to read subtitles. So I've found that the time when I'm doing nothing else is when I'm going to bed, I'll just have my tablet sat on the side table. I'll be lying on my side, and I'll watch an episode or two of them, because then I can just lie there and watch and read. I'm not like, I need to also be editing this video or whatever. I want to be playing this game while I'm watching that. So,
I couldn't do it on my phone. The screen's not big enough, or like the tablet, the screen's not big enough. I have to.
It is when it's right next to you.
No, it needs to be on like a big.
Yeah, I know. But when you're watching something on a tablet that is like a foot away from you, it is like having a 40-odd inch TV 8 foot away from you. Hold your tablet up in front. Sit on your couch, hold your tablet up in front of you, and then hold it up to the TV, and you'll see that it will cover your entire TV in the position you're holding it in.
I get what you're saying, but it's not right.
No, fair enough. But it works for me. It's absolutely fine.
I'm the only person I've ever known that can't do it. I struggle. The only thing I can watch is like short YouTube vids and stuff on the tablet. But if it goes on for longer than 10 minutes or like 5 minutes, I'm like, it needs to just go on the TV. I don't know what it is. I think we've had this before. When I was saying like Ash loves watching like TikToks and videos and stuff on the phone, and I'm just like, I genuinely struggle to do it. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I can't cope with it.
Loss, you're not getting to see all these fabulous Sean TikTok creations. I'm sorry, Reg.
Yeah, so that's the reason why he's not joining us on tonight's pod. Apparently, he's playing Fortnite. He did a TikTok or a Snapchat or something.
He's also getting his kitchen remodeled, but still.
Yeah, but not at fucking 8:30 at night. The guys are gone, and he's just sitting there playing Fortnite. His whatever video it was like, well, there's nothing else to do. I might as well play Fortnite. I'm like, there's nothing else to do. You know what? It's fine. Just realised, but this is on air, and I shouldn't really be just going like, you know what? Fuck you. But yeah, grow a set and come play. So
sums it up.
Yeah. So on that note, then.
Yes.
Let's all go beat him at Fortnite and make him cry like the little girl.
The thing is, I couldn't, but fair enough.
I have no idea if I could. I think I played Fortnite for about a day when it first came out.
Yeah.
And then never touched it since. And I only did it because we needed a game to play that didn't require PlayStation Plus.
Right.
When we could play with like the lads from work. And we had like one good entertaining match. And then we had one match where like we all died apart from one guy, and we just sat, like me and my mate just sat in the lobby for like a good fucking 10 minutes waiting for him to finish. And I was like, this is shit. And then that was it. I was just done. Uninstalled, never touched again.
Oh dear.
So, yeah. There you go. That's my Fortnite story. Sean will be the one to be able to regale you the tales of the Knights of Fort. But I am not that guy.
Never mind.
I'm that guy that can't watch videos on his phone, but will happily sit there and play RPGs on his phone.
That's so true.
So that's what I'm going to do instead.
You are missing out. You'll never know what happens to Aaron and his friends.
I'm sure you'll tell me the week after it finishes on the
never.
pod.
Never.
I'll just Google it then. That's what I seem to do in quite a lot of stuff recently. I'm like, oh, that's what happened. So I find it works quite well. So there you go. If you don't want to make an entertaining tale for the podcast, I'll just Google it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right then, babe.
Right. Thank you everyone for listening. And we will see you next week for our 50th episode. Woohoo! Bye.
Doodles.